New York is the city that never sleeps, and neither does Sal Licata. From Flushing in the Bronx to the Meadowlands in MSG, Sal sounds off on the biggest sports news of the day. Welcome to WFAN Daily with Sal Licata.
It's not Sal Licata, it is Pete Hoffman filling in from Pittsburgh as the New York Giants are about to go play the Pittsburgh Steelers tomorrow night for Monday Night Football. And maybe we'll get something good going on with New York sports because let's be serious here. The past few days has been atrocious, but specifically the New York Jets. And let me just put this out as frank and as honest as I possibly can. Woody Johnson, you need to fire Joe Douglas yesterday. This is an atrocity. This team is a joke. This team is a mess, and there's nothing you can do to fix it for this year. The Jets are 2-6. 2-6. First 8 games, 2-6. What 2-6 teams even make the playoffs? You wanted to win a Super Bowl? Try making the playoffs first, buddy. It's an awful organization. And I can keep on saying simple things like just sell the team, please. Just do that. But that's not going to happen. So at the very least, Joe Douglas, see him the door on Monday morning. Because this team needs a complete and utter new evaluation from outside perspective, from consultants, whatever. Hire 3, 4, 5 different people just to evaluate the rest of the season, the second half of the season. You played 8 games so far. You're 2-6 against really bad teams. You've played the Patriots twice, and you're 1-1 against them. You murdered them once, and you beat your chest over that. And then you just got embarrassed. Okay? Hey, but guess what? Devontae Adams is here. Hassan Reddick is here. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing, because they still can't buy you a win. So Joe Douglas needs to be the first one to be shown the door, because at this point in time, he's made every mistake in the book to put this team back in the dumpster. And then as far as coaching staff goes, you're going to have to fire everybody eventually. You have to blow up the whole team. You have to get a whole new staff. Aaron Rodgers needs to be gone at the end of the season. And that's without a consultant telling you that. That's with me telling you that. He is no good. He's never been good for this team. He's a selfish player. And we're sitting here right now with a 2-6 record, a guy who his best pass of the year might have been a Hail Mary pass that we prayed to God someone would come down and catch the ball. That's what happened. He is not Aaron Rodgers from 5-10 years ago. He's like Aaron Rodgers from 2 years ago when he was close to making a playoff game with the Packers with a broken thumb. He's just a bad quarterback, a 40-year-old who can't do what he used to do. And this offense is not good. This defense is not great. Not anymore. That was all about firing Robert Saleh. No one's ever going to question Robert Saleh not being a good head coach. But to fire him mid-season was another just add-on to a brutal mistake. He should have been fired before the season started. There was no reason to go into the season with Robert Saleh as a head coach. And that is the biggest problem, is that this organization continues to make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. How are you supposed to go out there on a Sunday and go win a ball game when everyone is just grasping at straws, trying to make a quick fix week to week? You can't do that. It's just impossible. So, message to Woody Johnson. Do not allow Joe Douglas back in the building. Do not allow anyone from inside the building to actually make any real change. Because here's what I'm worried about. There's a trade deadline coming up, and I'm worried that you're going to get rid of anybody of significance because Joe Douglas is going to try to save his job. You know? I don't think he's going to trade a Garrett Wilson, but if he did, that'd be the stupidest thing in the world. Meanwhile, you're sitting here making, you know, crazy trades to try to bring in Devontae Adams, and we're going to trade Garrett Wilson. Again, this is just rumors that keep on popping up. But the point is, it seems like you have a very erratic GM right now that doesn't know what he's doing, just trying to figure out a way to save his job, not save a team. And I'm not sure if that's because the owner is just completely clueless and making all these decisions, or if the GM is just, doing it on his own. I don't know who's to blame anymore, but I can tell you this much: we can't fire the owner, though we'd love to. We can fire the GM, and that's Joe Douglas. And I'm sorry to say that, because I'm sure I know Joe's a nice guy. I know a lot of great things about Joe Douglas, how highly touted he is. I'm sure he's going to go to a different situation and thrive, but he ain't doing it here. And there's just so many different levels to why this franchise is where it is. And we're going to go back to another year where let's go draft another quarterback. Let's go draft another quarterback, because we're basically at that point right now. I mean, the Jets are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're 2-6. They're not that far away from being one of the worst teams in football and getting a high draft pick and drafting a quarterback. And do you think I want to see Joe Douglas draft another quarterback after Zach Wilson? Hell no. I want no chance of that. So just got to get rid of Joe Douglas. And you want to know something? I'll tell you right now who makes the most sense. And I know he doesn't. It sounds like he's being a pain in the ass. It sounds like he's being a dick to Woody Johnson. But I think this is his way of playing ball and saying, I need to take over your team. It's Bill Belichick. That's who it is. That's the guy that you got to bring in. Now, he doesn't need to be the head coach. Bring him in as the GM. Bring him in as the guy that's going to make all the decisions for you, all the right decisions. You don't need Bill Belichick to coach your team. You need Bill Belichick to come in and get the right personnel here. Get the right talent here. Get the right culture here. Well, I sit there and we may make fun of the Patriots right now, how terrible they are. Really? Because they're just as good as the freaking Jets. It's embarrassing. We can sit down there and break down the game of what went wrong between the Jets and the Patriots. You know what went wrong? Us bringing in a 40-year-old freaking quarterback who hasn't won a Super Bowl in over a decade to try to bring the Jets out of the playoff drought. That's what went wrong. That's what went wrong. So tomorrow morning needs to be Black Monday for the Jets. We've already fired the coach. That didn't help. You took the defensive coordinator away from the one thing he did really well, and now he's the head coach of the team, and now the defense isn't that good. And the offense isn't that good. So what's good? Nothing. It's terrible. The whole team stinks. So get rid of what we know isn't working. And Joe Douglas hasn't worked. And let's move on now, because you can't allow him to make any real moves for a trade deadline. I don't trust it. And I don't want him to make any real moves the rest of the way. I don't want him to make any free agent moves, that's for sure. I don't want him to draft anybody. I don't want him to do anything. We need to start new. And it starts with getting rid of Joe Douglas. Now, as far as the New York Yankees go, they are down 2-0 against the Dodgers. What a terrible first two games of a World Series. You want to talk about? I complained already about the game one, how awful of a job Aaron Boone did directing traffic, bringing in Nestor Cortez in a spot where he hasn't pitched in 35 days, and you're bringing him and facing Shohei Ohtani, which they got out of, thank goodness. And then the Freddie Freeman giving a grand slam. But the lackluster play of the Yankees offensively is scary. Because if it's not Stanton, if it's not Soto, nobody else is hitting. Nobody else is doing a thing. It's pretty bad. And Aaron Judge is the main culprit. And it sucks to say that because Aaron Judge is a great player, but he's a great regular season player. And it's time that he does something in the playoffs. It's about time. You could only hold down. And listen, Carlos Rodon pitched a so-so game. I'm not going to sit here and say he was completely awful, but think of him 3 home runs. We talk about a guy who has a lot of energy, has a lot of mojo to him, feeds off of him performing great. He didn't. And I was happy to see he held his composure after the first home run he gave up, but he still ended up giving up 2 more home runs, giving up 4 runs. You can't do that. You can't allow that. You can't have, when you look back at Andy Pettit back in the day when he used to pitch for the Yankees in the World Series, because he did that quite often, you look at someone who was able to be, just stealth mode, was able to go in there and pitch, never looked frazzled, never looked, even if they did tag him up here or there, he never looked upset at all. Carlos Rodon, you can't trust him. You give up a home run. It's just like, even though he didn't look too banged up, you could just know that it's in him that he was very upset that he gave up that home run, and eventually it bit him in the butt. Now, sometimes you tip the cap to the Dodgers and say, "Wow, they're a really good team," but Carlos Rodon is not the guy that you paid for, not the guy that you brought in for 5 years to be that 1B to Garrett Cole's 1A. Garrett Cole's an ace. No one can knock that. Garrett Cole went on the mound the other day and pitched a great freaking ball game, and he lost. Not because of what he did, but because his offense couldn't score more runs and the bullpen couldn't keep the game. They couldn't hold the offense down, the Dodgers offense down. Carlos Rodon just couldn't keep it together. And the offense didn't show up for the Yankees again. And I'm going to tell you this one more time. I will give Juan Soto $700 million, but he's DH. He's Shohei Ohtani. He's a DH. He is not a right fielder. You need a defensive replacement for him because there are too many times where he just does not play the ball well enough. And I know he's 25 years old right now. He's still very young, but that doesn't mean that the defense is going to get any better. He's got a good arm. I'm not going to take that away, but his defense is not going to get better. The way he plays the ball is terrible. He's slower than crap out there. Okay? He does not get to every ball. He is not a fast runner. You could definitely not put him in center field. I mean, he is a liability out there at right field. So, offensively gifted, has a ton of issues defensively that you can't go out there and just rely on him in late innings. So, either he's a DH or you have to pull him in 7th, 8th, 9th inning because there's too many times where he's given up an extra base to whether it's a single, turns into a double turns into a triple, because he just is not quick enough to a baseball. And that is something that the Yankees now have to use and adjust accordingly. I'm not saying that you're going to go put Stanton out there for the remainder of the World Series. That's stupid too. We know that Stanton's a great bat at the moment. We don't need to see him play right field. But I'll tell you this much: Soto, if the Yankees are winning in Game 3 on Monday night by more than 2 runs, I would take Soto out of the game in the 6th, 7th inning, probably the 7th inning. If he just gets in at bat, bottom 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, I would question maybe taking Juan Soto out. I know his bat's important. You want to get his bat in there, but what's more important? Allowing a hit to right field that can put them in scoring position, put the Dodgers in scoring position, because we've seen it already time after time. Their offense is relentless. The Dodgers, it doesn't make a difference who it is, whether it's Ohtani, whether it's Betts, whether it's Freeman, whether it's freaking Tommy Edman. Their offense is relentless, and you cannot allow them to get any extra base whatsoever. And Soto just doesn't do enough for me in the outfield. He just doesn't. That does it right now for WFAN Daily. I appreciate it. I will not be with the show BT and Sal tomorrow because I'm still in Pittsburgh. We got the Giants game Monday Night Football, Giants Steelers. That should be fun. But yeah, This was a very rough weekend for New York sports. There's no other way around it. I mean, Yankees going down 2-0 so quickly, and the Jets just giving another lifeless appearance. It's just New York sports were not supposed to go this way. Not this year. Not this year. Not that what I was told. I mean, we all knew that the Yankees were getting to the World Series, which is good. They're there. But they need to do better. They need to perform a little bit better. But the Jets were supposed to be a top team in the AFC. And right now, they are top draft pick. They are top the order of draft picks. That's not how it was supposed to go. Listen, follow me at HoffWFAN. You could, follow the show BT and Sal, follow WFAN Daily, subscribe, whatever you got to do. I appreciate you following, listening, all that other good stuff. We'll see you later. Let's go Giants. Let's go try to get a win. Hey, the Yankees are playing Game 3 also Monday night, so hopefully they can win too. Let's try to make this a little closer to World Series. At least make it a series. Win at least one game. Go from there. All right, guys. See you later. Have a good night.